Well, the once rich country of Venezuela continued to spiral into chaos this week as opposition forces took part Thursday in a nationwide strike aimed at forcing President Nicolas Maduro to cancel an upcoming vote aimed at rewriting the Constitution. Protesters threw up roadblocks in neighborhoods, leading to violent clashes with Venezuelan security forces. President Maduro says he called for Sunday's vote to select a new constitutional assembly and to, quote, restore order in Venezuela. He also blamed the country's woes on the United States, which announced new sanctions against members of Maduro's inner circle. More than 100 people have been killed in 4 months of protests. Thousands have been injured in clashes with security forces. Now, with food and supplies scarce in many parts of the country, many Venezuelans have been crossing the border into neighboring Colombia to buy much-needed supplies. A growing number of Venezuelans blame Maduro's government for the lack of food, medicines, as well as other necessities. And for the latest now on what's going on in Venezuela ahead of Sunday's crucial vote, we are joined on Skype from the border town of Cucuta, Colombia, on the western edge of Venezuela by Celia Mendoza with VOA Spanish service, and also live on Skype from the capital, Caracas, Venezuela, by Alvaro Algarra, our VOA reporter in South America. Hola, and thank you both. Good to have you both back this week. Gracias. Alvaro, looks like it's raining where you are in Caracas. Tell me what the mood is like in Caracas. Has it changed since we last spoke last week?
Yes, sir. Good morning to all the audience of Voice of America, the correspondent. Effectively, today it's raining. It's been raining. It's been 2 hours since the civic strike for 48 hours just finished. But the opposition called to go to the streets after 12 at noon to go to protest against this change of the Constitution, against this election supposed to be on July 30, this Sunday. People is very nervous about what could happen in Venezuela. It's been 7 days in last 48 hours in Venezuela during the protest. People doesn't have food. People need to get medicine. It's very hard for the people who is living in Venezuela. The embassy of the United States called to their people to go out of the country. It's very difficult what's going on in Venezuela.
Yeah, and Celia, as you heard Alvaro, it's like kind of a dangerous situation there right now. But you are in Cucuta in Colombia, one of the border towns, I'm told, near Venezuela. Can you tell our audience why you are there in Cucuta?
I'm exactly here because over the past few days we have seen a large increase in the amount of Venezuelans and Colombians who live in Venezuela who are coming back to Cucuta, who are using Cucuta to provide or supply themselves with food, medicines, and also some of them are actually using it to leave the country. Some of them are in the route to Ecuador, Peru, Brazil. Some of them are staying here in Cucuta and other cities. But one of the major reasons they're coming here is because they are here. We are right now in the hospital of Cucuta, where the people of Venezuela is able to come through the emergency room system to be able to get free health care services.
Wow.
That's a big help, especially for those people that for the longest time haven't been able to be seen by a doctor or to have the elements for the doctors to attend them. We just spoke to a mother who is pregnant and who actually years ago in Venezuela because of the care that they were not able to provide there. And now she's here in Colombia after Venezuela, getting over and being able to be attended and to be cared for. And it's not actually her country.
Yeah, it looks like the population of Cucuta just doubled there. It's a lot of people, Celia. I'm wondering, though, are folks in Colombia sympathetic to what's going on in Venezuela?
They're very sympathetic, and that's something that we have seen. Being a Colombian myself, I experienced the fact that Venezuela opened the doors to Colombians back in the day when Colombia experienced their difficulties with violence and narco traffic. Nowadays, Colombians are opening the doors to the Venezuelans, and having able to give back a little bit is something that they take with pride. The president of Colombia made that call on the 30th of May where they opened the hospitals, but they also are allowing them to get other services in Colombia. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody is happy with the arrival of Venezuelans. A lot of people are concerned about employment, about security, about the cost that it actually charged to the health system, and that's something that the Colombian people is trying to figure out. Some of the mayors in the town, as well as some of the administrators in the healthcare system, are talking about refugee camps. They're talking about getting the United Nations involved and try to set up camps like it is in Jordan or Turkey, where Syrian refugees are being taken care of. And that is especially a talk that it has ramped up over the past few days. Now that Venezuela is preparing to go to the Constitution vote on Sunday.
Okay, and let me turn to Alvaro now. Speaking of the Constitution, as Celia mentioned, I'm wondering if you've looked at the polls, Alvaro, what is the level of support there in Caracas for Maduro's plan for this July 30th vote? Does he have supporters, or is the vast majority of Caracas mostly against this plan to hold a vote on July 30th?
The support of Maduro is about 25% of the people in Venezuela. It's the lowest popularity for a president in the history. The majority of the people doesn't want to change the constitution. It's important to say that Nicolás Maduro last night called to the opposition to a dialogue, but there is no time for a dialogue. People doesn't want to change the constitution. People last week said 7.5 million of people said no, we don't want to change the constitution. So in the next 48 hours, anything could happen in Venezuela.
Right. The next 48 hours, Alvaro, could be very significant where you are. Are you worried about safety, for example, of the people there? There seems to be a lot of people in spite of the rain.
Of course, when you go out of the streets in Venezuela, you don't know if you come back. I have to stress this to protect myself, because journalists are very dangerous in Venezuela in this time, every time, all the journalists, because of censorship. That's a very important point in Venezuela. The government doesn't want to let the people know what is going on in the country. It's very, very critical moment.
It's a difficult situation there, but Celia, I imagine things are equally difficult where you are in Cucuta. I imagine there are probably food shortages. Just looking at the numbers of people that have been flocking in across the border, are there any shortages going on in Cucuta?
As right now, we haven't seen any shortages in Cucuta, but we have seen a large presence of police, migration officers. The migration of Colombia has sent over a larger amount of agents that will be able to assist in the border. One of the things that we have seen is people sleeping in the streets, going outside the parks, and staying in the open areas of the town. Luckily for them, Cucuta is a fairly warm town, and that has helped for people to be able to stay outside. But one of the things that we really have seen is the presence of the families that have been able to cross and to be able to leave the town. Now, something that you mentioned is security. The security across the bridge, it is very tense. El Táchira, which is the state that is neighboring Cucuta, is one of those states that recognize the amount of protests and violence that has ramped up in the past few years. And that is something that worries the Border Patrol in Colombia, especially in the next few hours. One of the things that you mentioned especially is what it could happen, and Colombian authorities are very concerned about those next few hours in terms of people trying to come in with the border that is closed, because they believe in, the mayor of Cucuta told us that on Saturday the border will be closed, as usually closes during the election. They have not received word from the government of Venezuela, but they assume it will happen because he has done it in the past. And that is something that is of great concern for the people of Colombia, that they are following closely what happened in the next few hours. And if the people is not able to come back to Colombia because they don't know if he decides to reopen the border. And that is a reality that they are trying to manage as right now.
Alvaro, I'm out of time now, and I wanted to just ask you a personal question. Do you feel safe as a journalist where you are? Do you feel safe?
No, sir, I don't feel safe in Venezuela.
Okay. Well,
no, not one feels safe in Venezuela.
Please, both of you, be very.
30,000 died.
Right. Please
year because
be
of the
careful, Alvaro and Celia. I'm out of time, so gracias.